everybody, this is Pretty from It's a Pretty World. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm planning to play with the Stamptember stamp release, which is called Sending Sympathy. The stamp set is beautiful with lots of leaf images and some beautiful sentiments. I'm using a 12/7/8 by 5.5 cardstock, which I've scored at 4.25, which gives me a finished card size of 4.25 by 5.5. Now, most of us do not have such large pieces of cardstock, so most of us do have 12 by 12 inch cardstock. So for that, you'll cut your cardstock at 12 by 5.25 and score it at 4 inches on each side. So that will give you a trifold card, which you will fold like a brochure. So it's like a brochure fold, like what I'm showing you. And that'll give you a trifold card, but I'm going to use the size that I have at just 12/7/8 by 5.5. I've taken all the leaf stamps and I've mounted onto acrylic blocks, and I'm also taking Distress Oxide inks in Hickory Smoke and Black Soot. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp these images onto the Bristol smooth cardstock, and then I'm also going to use the Distress spritz out there to spritz the stamp so that it gives me a watercolor look. So I'm not really doing a watercolor, it's almost like a faux watercolor, and that's the reason why I'm using the Bristol smooth paper. So once I spritz it, I can actually stamp it multiple times to get quite a few impressions. So you will get one pretty solid impression, and then you will get a few faded out impression. And my idea is to fill up that entire trifold with images, with this leafy images all over. So I'm just continuing to stamp, and I'm interchanging between Hickory Smoke ink pad and this the Black Soot ink pad. Now, while I'm also spritzing them water, some of them I'm just doing strong coloring. I'm just going directly with it as well. And after I was done stamping everything, I just took Tattered Rose Distress ink and I smushed it on my craft surface, and I took a paintbrush, just a simple paintbrush, and just painted a few of the elements, just a few, not all of them, just a few of the elements with that Tattered Rose oxide. And it just gives a little pop of color for a very grey and black card. And then I heat set it because you want the next step, you want it to be all dry. And then I took the Deco foil adhesive pen. What it is, it's just a glue pen, and I just took that and I added glue in different places of my card. And the idea was to put the foil on it and give some shimmer, just to make the card look a little bit more elegant and dainty. And then while I was adding it, I also added a few dots here and there, like a splatter, like right now, like just splattering dots, as if I splattered Deco foil all over the place. And then I didn't quite wait for it to completely dry. So you see, it didn't really, the foil did not really adhere to the glue. So the key is to just wait till it dries a bit. And it shouldn't be completely dry enough so you feel the tackiness. And then I just went on going to all over the places, and I stamped. And wherever there was an over foiling, you just take a sand eraser and you just erase it. And then I decided to do some splattering. I didn't quite like the way I was starting it off, so then I decided to just smush the paint onto my surface, onto my work surface again, dip the brush into water, take a lot of water in it, and then just splatter around the edges. I was just a little careful that I didn't splatter it everywhere. I just contained the colors to the edges of my cardstock, and I did that with Hickory Smoke as well. Again, loading my loading my brush with water, and I just kept adding the splatter all over the place. And those splatters were not really big splatters, they were really tiny splatters, and that's what I wanted. And I also did that with my Tattered Rose as well, just to add that little bit of color. So it's not extremely colorful card, but just enough. So it's again, it's a thinking of you sympathy card. I didn't want it to be too out there. And then I took this stamp set saying "Say It All Friend" from Simon Says Stamp. It was a previous release, maybe a couple of months back. And then I took a heavyweight vellum cardstock and I decided to do some gold embossing onto the vellum, and I used Brutus Monroe's Gilded Gold Embossing Powder, which was really, it was the closest gold embossing powder that I had, which matched with my foil that I used, and I really liked it. And then I obviously heat up the embossing powder until it was melted. Now it was time to adhere this to my card. So, but before that, I also wanted an additional sentiment, and I stamped this sentiment using Hickory smoke, not I think it was black soot ink. But the final card that I used, I kind of liked. I made another card, and I used the great the black, not the black soot, the Hickory smoke stamp. So I've used both the colors for the sentiment, and then I cut this strip into a very thin banner using the nested banner die from Simon Says. So my idea is to adhere the vellum panel on top of the front of that's the first fold of the card, and then adhere this additional sentiment strip on the bottom of that. So it says, thinking of you, you are not alone. That is what the sentiment reads. And then I just adhered the vellum piece using some score tape. And then I added some additional sentiment in the next two folds of the card. So as you open, there will be multiple sentiments. And the sentiment for that read, I think it read, let me see. You are a fighter and nothing can ever hold you back. Always remember that. Sorry about that crinkly sound. That's because I was looking at what the sentiment read. And then I also used another sentiment from sending you sympathy. What was it called? Sending you sympathy? Sending sympathy or something like that. From that, and I stamped sending all of my love at on the last panel. And then it started to adhere some crystal gems, and this is when I realized after I adhered, oh, I did not put the sentiment strip, but I put the gems in such a way that I could easily slip the sentiment strip right in the middle of the gemstones, and it was all good. So I added foam adhesive at the back of the sentiment strip, and that finished up my entire card. I'm just adjusting some. That's it. Hope you had fun, and visit my blog. I have more instructions, and see you next time. Thank you. Bye bye.